Alrighty guys, we should be live. That should all be well and truly alright. Just looking to see for the stream itself where I had the download for the thumbnail. So I'll quickly grab that. Thing is, I am having some minor difficulties with getting into the server to broadcast. So just bear with. I think they reset the server now. This is especially for me. And then we will get underway with qualifying. So we're just waiting to get the server back up and running once again, and this time hopefully with a spot for me. Whilst we're actually right now in this server setting, whatever, let's try to go to Misano. I already missed it. Misano. Am I that blind? Where is Misano? I am probably pretty blind. There we go, Misano. So yeah, I haven't really driven Misano all that much, so you can see here a 135.380 is my quickest lap around there. Of course, I am not one of the quickest guys, by far not. Let's try to re-enter set lobby. Oh, alright, I need to change my car to another car. Let's select this, and I need to select the Alpine. Let's do it like that. Then we search back. It's a bit of a faff, but we will work our way around it. Ah, come on, man. I said it. It's set to GT3, but I need to be in the GT4 Alpine. So it's 1 sec. Yeah, I know change car on this page, but you see here the server itself is set to GT3 and I need to be in a GT4. So the server just won't let me enter. If I do it from this page, will it then work? Maybe. Yeah, you see. I don't know why it's doing that. So I hit confirm. It's on there. And then it just automatically changes because it's a GT3. See, it automatically changes. That's strange. And if I go with this one, it is fine, but because it's GT3 only, I can only do it like that. Ah well, more time to have a little bit of a chat, shall we? So after last week's race, we had a couple of changes. The biggest one of them was that Lojak is now a gold rated driver instead of a silver rated driver. And it works.
Go, go, go.
Alright, we are up and running. So, we are finally having some trackside pictures at this lovely circuit of Misano. So, circuit of Misano. Full name is actually Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. It's located in the town of Misano Adriatico in Emilia-Romagna, very close by to the circuit of Imola, which is also in the Emilia-Romagna area. In terms of the track itself, it's a 4.2 to 6 kilometer track, or 2.6 to 6 miles in length, with 16 corners, 10 of which are right-handers, 6 of them are left-handers, and that makes it also that this circuit is going clockwise. It's a technical bit of circuit at the beginning and end of the lap, and in between it is a lot of flat out high speed stuff. In terms of height elevation, there is not really much elevation to speak about, as we see that Paris is already running it out of the pit lane and stopping and then going again. This pit lane exit especially being very long, because only here, there you go, you can switch off the pit limiter and you can go back to racing speed. Yeah, I was going over the changes that happened. The most important one indeed being LoJack being moved up to gold class. So it was a top 12 with gold drivers. So standings wise, overall standings, we have Goods leading from LoJack, leading from Weatherston. It's pretty simple, just the finishing order after last week is the overall standing. Then in gold class, near enough the same, I believe. A couple of guys being a little bit further down. Then we have silver class, which is being led by Popov, then Kellyan and Asen being in third spot, with bronze class being led by Caraballo, O'Leary and then Black. So what do we want to look for in this race? Well, of course, turns 1 and 2, heavy braking is a tight line. We might see some incidents there happening on lap number 1. As for the rest of the track, turns 4 to 6, technical, you need to be really smooth on the throttle. Otherwise you might spin out or get stuck on an exit curve or whatever. Turns 8 to 10, it is big main or big high speed, get some late 8 backs to get a smoother run out of the corner. And of course you got 11 and 13 high speed right-handers, almost a straight, you can keep it flat, but you need to be careful for track limits. And then with the final braking zone being right here, be careful not to run out too wide on the exit, because that will get you dinged for track limits. Paris first across the line with a 134.6. So far in provisional pole position. As Gus a bit slower with a 135.9. Not getting the cleanest of laps in. Hochhausen was one of the key drivers last week, but not maybe particularly for a good reason. After qualifying very well in second place, they ultimately finished in 13th. Going with an early strategy not paying off, as their Druid goes off to give Hochhausen some space, but didn't really matter as their lap was already invalidated. Gertz up on his time, losing a little bit of time down the straight, might get a very distant tow from Fitzroy and the BMW in front. Tricky braking zone here, swing it in, then another dab on the brakes, a little bit harder, getting it slowed down nicely before the last two corners, both of which are left-handers. And getting a lot of time through there, and they will post a 1:33.665, which puts them on provisional pole position. But we've still got 15 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, as LoJack is now heading out of the pit lane. Turney had also a little bit of a rough race last time round, getting a penalty, I believe it was, which is never something you would like to have in a race, which put them severely on the back foot. And now they have Felcinelli right behind him. as there was already a yellow flag. There's a second yellow flag, the second one being for Jordanov, and the first one being for, I believe that would be Mackie. It would be Mackie who is the cause of that yellow, as well as Azoyan. So a couple of guys creating some yellow flags as they are trying to return to the pit lane without actually doing the in-lap, which is allowed. Here we have Gonalons making their first outing after missing the first round. They have been put in gold class, so they will be meeting with high expectations. Let's hope that they can meet those expectations as well from their side. I always had so much difficulty with that braking zone. For some reason it just never really clicked with me. But you just need to brake straight. That's all there is really to it. As around the final corner comes Gonalons, but goes very wide over the exit curb and thus invalidates the lap time. It would have been a 134.7, but the invalidation rules it illegal. As there behind you can see Turney, Hockhausen and Falcinelli being very close to one another. Not really optimal for a qualifying lap, I would say. And currently Moro with the fastest lap of a 133.1 in the Lamborghini, making sure that that Lamborghini gets some screen time. The lap time was already invalidated. But they start now with another lap. They do have some traffic in front to negotiate, being Turney. There's no need to get out of the way, as they are also on a push lap themselves. As we had a little bit of jittering with the camera. My apologies for that. Hopefully it will remain stable throughout the remainder of this race and qualifying session, of course. Weatherson parking it in the pit lane for now. Still with over half the qualifying session left to go. Still time left to put in a lap time. Paris coming across the line with a 3/10 improvement will move them up to P3, gaining 4 positions. It's a tight pack once again. I mean, improving by 3/10 and gaining 4 positions at the top end of the grid. That does show some closeness in the qualifier, as Hockhausen had a very good lap time, but it was invalid, meaning they are still actually it wasn't invalid, I was wrong. It was a valid lap time, and thus they get a valid lap time on the board, as they are almost going racing with Turney right now. Yeah, you don't really want to be racing on a qualifying session, but not necessarily the best strategy to go for. As here we have Gertz and Martinelli being in second and third place. Martinelli being a bit more than 10 seconds behind Gertz right now on track. but very closely together in terms of their qualifying goods backing up, or backing off of his run, because they already had invalidated and would rather take a little bit of time off this lap to then go full steam ahead. Didn't really matter in the end anyway, as the BMW ahead returned to the pit lane. So let's ride on board with Guts for a qualifying lap. Or let's not. I mean, have it your way. Why should we? I mean, it's not all that important. Let's instead go on board then with Lojek, also in the Mustang. Coming into turns 1 and 2, you see here hard braking, and then very tight single file nearly through turns 1 and 2. Then you got turn 3, long exit into turn 4, being very tight. You can run a bit wide there with the camber, cut back sharply for turn 5, and then also sharp for turn 6. Don't run too wide on the exit. As we now head to turn 7, hard braking zone. It's almost a hairpin like, but you can make it very wide on the exit. As ahead we have Weatherston pulling off the racing line, very nicely done there. And then we got the triple apex corner nearly of 8, 9, 10. Then we go on the back straight. This is a straight, it goes on a little bit longer as you have 3 right-handers there. With a small dab on the brakes for the last one, cutting on the inside and then hard braking into the sharper right-hander. And then you only have 2 more corners left to negotiate. And be extremely careful not to run too wide here. And Lojek does that very nicely. Up to line is a 3/10 improvement, which puts them up to P2 from P5. So again, 3/10 improvement means 3 positions gained. Very nicely done from Lojek. Trying to replicate a great result like they did last week. Starting P4 but finishing up in P2. So 6 minutes remain. Let's quickly see what the grid order currently looks like. It is Moro with nearly a 2.5 tenths lead over Lojek, with Gertz being 1.5 tenths further behind. Then we have Taylor, Martinelli, Paris, BX Royal, and Paul in the Nissan GTR being the first placed silver class driver. Yeah, Freivogel, Weatherston, Falcinelli, Cabras, who moves up the grid in P8. Fitter in P13 with Hochhausen in P14. Then we have Popov, Warrior making up second and third place in silver class, with Fitzpatrick having P1 in bronze class. Then we have Kellyan, Caesar making their first appearance, with Dundies also making their first appearance of this season. ASEAN up next in P21 with Caraballo. Then we have Druid, also a first time outing for them. Oh, Larry, Turney, Black, Mackie currently sitting in the pit lane with Jonov, and Gonalons yet to set a lap time actually. So maybe they are leaving it up until the last moment, which is a strategy, of course. Is it a good one? I'm not so sure. This lap still seems a little bit like a slower lap for them. I believe they were a little bit weaving. It is an invalid lap time anyway, so I mean, you can be quick, but if you cannot keep it between the white lines, then it's going to be difficult to get a good qualifying position. Like that, going very wide. but this is indeed an outlap for them, so no real issues there, as they are now starting their flying lap, getting very close to that outside wall, all over the entry curb, over the exit curb of turn number 1, making a nice run through sector 1. But then going wide, maybe a little bit too wide out of turn 4. Still they press on. That certainly looks too wide out of turn 6. We'll stay on board just in case. Also, I'm curious about what kind of lap time they are able to set. As they will now head on to the back straight. Well, technically speaking, there are 3 straights really. One bendy, but the longest one, start-finish straight. And then the straight right opposite of the start-finish straight. So yeah, it's a lot of high speed and also a lot of slower speed. There's the rear nearly stepping out there on Gonalons. As again, was that too wide from them outside, out of the penultimate corner? We will see it up to the line. They go. What will their lap time be? It will not count. It was a 1:35.0, but it was indeed invalidated. They got 2 more shots, 2 more flying laps, including the one they are on right now. So these are the dying moments of the qualifying session. If you're about to start your lap, that is your final lap or your final opportunity to improve. Like for Fitterer, who's currently in 14th place, make that 11th place with still 1 more shot at possibly a top 10 starting position. Vrijvogel coming to the final corner, up by a 10th. Can they hold it around the final corner, getting a little bit of time on the exit, and it will be an improvement, and certainly an improvement in position, up to P8 right now. Paris also on the final lap, being a tad up in the first sector, going into the second sector now. Hard braking for the hairpin left-hander. Gain a little bit of time on the brakes, but then losing it again on the exit, so not really a net gain there. Trying to get on the throttle as quickly as possible. Gain back the tiniest amount of time, only a couple of hundredths. As the checkered flag is out. Qualifying is over. You are able to finish your lap, but you may not start another one. And there is some time gain for Paris, but then again loses quite a lot of it, so not sure what they did. They did now invalidate, so it will not really matter. Let's see what they would have been able to do. Would have it been an improvement? No, it would not have been the case. Hochhausen now up to P5 and being nearly identical with their current lap time. So see if they can make it out. But they can't, they go straight on. Interestingly, alright. Warrior finishes off their lap, nearly setting a new personal best, but not quite. We've got a couple of guys left to finish, including Gonalons, who did set a lap time but last one also being invalid, which would have been a 1.1 second improvement. And that is qualifying done. So we got Morrow on pole position with 300 back. Gr3 lining up second. Then it is three more Mustangs, I should say, of Paris, Lojek and Hochhausen, with Taylor 100 behind Hochhausen in P6. Martinelli in 7th with Freivogel in 8th. PX Royal in 9th with Paul in 10th. That makes up your top 10. Then we move on to the rest of the grid with Cabras, Fitterer, Weatherston, Popov, Falcinelli, Warrior, Callion, Dandies, Caesar and Fitzpatrick making up the top 20. Gonalons, Turney, Azuyan, Caraballo, Black, Druid, O'Leary, Mackie and Jordanov making up the remaining grid. So it is the Lamborghini from pole position as we wait 2 minutes before the start of the formation lap. So if you want to get a snack or something, feel free to do so right now, as for the next hour you will be packed with excitement with these races. Hello to you too, Mackie. Enjoy this race. Starting a little bit further down the field, but I am sure you will be able to make up places. I mean, you can always go up from here. So good luck to you too as well.
30 seconds.
There we have the 30-second mark. And that means there's 30 seconds till the green flag. Who would have guessed? It's such a beautiful sight seeing all those cars lining up on the grid. And through it as well. Good day to you too, sir. Good luck with your race as well as we get underway for the formation lap. One lap to warm up your tires, check your systems, although in all honesty they should be alright. And then we will get going for this second round of the race. Scanlan unfortunately cannot make it, but will look forward to seeing the track action. Well, I am surely hoping that we will be able to bring you that. This race will be a lot about the braking performance, tire temperatures as well. It is, I believe, a little bit cooler. Well, 18 degrees, track temperature of 22 degrees. It's alright. It's not sunny, and that will really help in the Italian landscape to warm up that track. But unfortunately it's very overcast right now, as you can see as well from the broadcast itself. It's a bit grey out there, but that won't dampen our mood. It is at least not raining. and that is already something. As you can see, all the cars swerving, trying to get some heat into the tires, trying to get some temperatures in there. Also warming up the brakes, especially the first couple of corners will be sketchy, as we do have Gonalons in the pit lane. So starting from the pit lane after already starting, or they would have started from B21. Now starting from the pit lane, interestingly I'm sure that it was by mistake, but nothing that can be done there right now, as there's only one corner left on this formation lap. The drivers are lining up side by side, creating two lines of cars, two lines of GT3 cars, ready to start racing. Moro will have the inside line for turn 1 and 3, with Gr3 having the inside for turn number 2 if he can stick it around the outside of turn number 1. We are waiting for the final cars to line up on the straight, and it is green, green, green. We are go for round number 2. As we head into turn number 1, it is a nice getaway from Moro behind, as further behind we saw a couple of the Mustangs going 3 wide nearly. As it is all to play for right now in these opening moments. Hochhausen going a little bit wide, Martinelli behind in the Ferrari also going wide. As up ahead is already very close for the lead of this race, with an attack already from Gr3. Gr3 up the inside into turn number 8 or 7, sorry. Being very cautiously on the brakes, and there some Mustang teamwork nearly trying to box the Lamborghini in. Lojak also trying to make up a position. Moro not giving up that fight easily, as Gr3 goes a little bit wide. Moro keeps that second place for the time being, but a straight line speed from the Mustang might become very scary very quickly, as they are running side by side. The two Mustangs behind also running side by side. Was a little bit of contact there between the Lamborghini and the Mustang? I'm not quite sure. They are still racing nonetheless, and it looks to me like it has been a very clean opening lap. We do have one person being a little bit further down in the field, and that would be Falcinelli, starting a little bit lower down the field and not having the best of starts by the looks of it. But it is Gr3 who has the lead after turn lap 1, with Moro and Lojak following in close proximity behind. Let's take a quick look through the rest of the pack. Fitzpatrick, who was, I believe, the lead driver in the bronze category, has fallen down a couple of places, with Caraballo getting ahead of them, as well as Dandies. Speaking of Caraballo, now fighting with Weatherston. And not able to get ahead of that BMW car. Of course, it's really closely together, as Turney goes in pretty deep. That will compromise the exit, and that might invite Weatherston into a move right now, slotting in behind, getting some of that slipstream. Don't want to be following too close behind. As is there nearly an opportunity? Is there a gap? We wait to see, and not quite. Weatherston decided not to go for it. It's very risky to go for a move right there. So we have Gonalons being very far back after starting from the pit lane. Right now on board with Martinelli. Having almost a half-hearted look there at the inside of Paris in the Mustang. Track limits will be a very big thing in this race. Getting 4 track limits warnings will be rewarded with a drive-through penalty. And I believe the drive-through penalty around this circuit is quite a hefty one, with that long wait before you can put the power down at the exit of the pit straight. Weatherston indeed losing some places from the start. As the top 4 are starting to run away, but they're a little bit of a slide from Guts out of the final corner, showing that they are still keeping up good pace. Going into the 33s now, a 1:33.747, which is in fact not the quickest lap of the race so far. As here we have 2 BMWs behind the McLaren of Druid. And through this opening sector, it's just about following each other and maybe capitalizing on a mistake, as passing here isn't that easy. It will all come down to mistakes and a run out of turn number 6. Maybe you can send one up the inside into turn number 7 into the hairpin, as that and probably turn 1 is your primary overtaking opportunity. As Weatherston indeed all the way down to P17 right now. Not having the best of starts after in fairness starting P13, so not that far up the grid. There is some damage to the front bumper, especially the front left side of the bumper. You can see that quite clearly there. Some paint being scraped off. That usually indicates that there was some contact with another foreign object, being a car, most likely. Now they do get a little bit of a run on Kellyan. They move on to the inside line, and with some nice braking make the move stick and improve their position to P16. Trying to claw back what they lost at the start of the race. Fitter as well, after starting in P12, now down to P22. For them as well, I said it was a clean first lap, but by the looks of it, there were definitely some scraps going on right there. Trying to improve positions, but instead costing positions. Vrijvogel last week not achieving the best of results with a P15 finish. Right now sitting much better in P8. And but you must remember, there is a mandatory pit stop in this race. You don't need to change tires, you just need to take on some fuel. And that's all there is really. You can decide whenever you want to pit. And I think around this circuit you will definitely want to be strategic, as a potential undercut or overcut will give you quite some time relative to your direct opponents. Paris has dropped Martinelli a little bit. Gap now greater than a second. As Gr3 is now just extending the lead further and further. Gap up to 2.5 seconds. And there is the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:33.290, which is only 0.2 slower than their qualifying lap. So clearly they have got a lot of pace on higher fuel load, must be. You're not going to qualify on race fuel, at least that's what I'm thinking. And what did I say? Oh, there's already a drive-through for Hochhausen even. So Hochhausen already with a drive-through. And I think that is them done maybe for the night. I'm not so sure. That drive-through will cost them a lot, and I think they know it. This will help everyone behind. As it is one less car to consider overtaking. So laps are ticking by. Taylor doing really well in P6 right now. Still staying very close to the back of Martinelli. Extremely close to the back of Martinelli through the opening sector. Yes, interesting line there from Martinelli in the braking zone, darting almost to the inside line, trying to cover off a potential overtaking move, whilst Taylor wasn't too close. But now they are really close, and with a good exit, they might be able to do something. If they just manage to get an inside nose, it will be of great use there in the second sector. They're oh so close, the Porsche and the Ferrari, and the Porsche needs to give in, not able to continue that fight, at least not for now. Also, this run not close enough into turn number 1. The lap times are pretty equal between the two cars. It's just that the Porsche seems to have a lot more agility and the Ferrari seems to have a little bit more straight line speed, which in all fairness is sounding not that unreasonable. Oh, as we have a spinner of Caraballo in the McLaren. And who else is that? Is that O'Leary? I believe it may be O'Leary. Or it was Gonalons actually, who also had a incident then. Yeah, I believe it was Gonalons and Caraballo then, who both spun round, or at least were stopped somewhat. As Gonalons is now gonna try to go for a move around the outside of Druid. Not quite able to pull it off this time. Flashing the lights. I'm curious to see what happened beforehand. As Druid does go in a bit deep into or on the exit. Gonalons looking up the inside. That's all well there, but it looks oh so close between the cars. And just a minor touch can just create an airplane crash or worse. Just shows you the difficulties of overtaking around this circuit. As Gonalons goes very wide. And that must be a track limits violation for them there. As I believe Druid had an issue with Caraballo, possibly. I think it was actually Druid who we saw also being stopped on circuit for a moment. Let's quickly take a look at the replay to see what happened with them. As Caraballo being car 81. There we go. And then we're just gonna see what happened to them. Oh, they get tagged by Fitzpatrick. And then rolling back onto the circuit, being in the middle of the road, and then tagging Druid. That will be looked at by the stewards, I think. And if I saw it correctly, I believe that I saw that there was a penalty dished out for Warrior being in the Porsche, and they are serving it immediately. So a drive-through for track limits already, just after 15 minutes of racing. Yeah, track limits are very harsh around here. Just having that very long drive through the entire pit lane. As they will get out on a clear track by the looks of it. So at least they will have some clear air in front of them to recoup some of that lost time. And the drive-through has been cleared. Martinelli still defending from the Porsche behind. But Freivogel in the BMW has also joined the fight now. As it is very close between the three cars. Freivogel gaining 3/10 on the last lap compared to the two cars ahead. Like really only realistic option to go for move is to have a send into a braking zone. You can see how much the Porsche loses on the exit or midway through the corner really. The Ferrari having great speed out of the corners to just stay ahead on the straights where it matters. As at the end of the straight you need to brake, and with a braking move you may be able to pull off an overtake. Popov doing very well in P11, being P2 in silver class, just 4.2 seconds off the current class leader Paul. They're doing very well to keep on it. And yeah, it's still a shot at a potential class victory that they got, as third placed silver class driver Kellyan is almost 10 seconds further adrift. Now Druid and Caraballo closely together. Remember, these two only had some prior contact caused by Caraballo, who is now the car behind. So I don't think that Druid will like to give up the spot easily. There's now O'Leary in the Mercedes. We haven't really seen anything from them so far, neither with qualifying nor the race. So let's take a quick moment to look at that Mercedes. I believe saw Mercedes on the field. Last season we had Van Eyck. This season we have O'Leary. Currently sitting in P22. And having just been overtaken by Gonalons, which in all fairness isn't that much of a surprise, seeing that Gonalons is after all a gold rated driver. But that lets O'Leary focus on the battle behind, with that BMW being very close. Less than a second adrift from the Mercedes. As I think right now we will see some cars peeling it off into the pit lane. Morrow still keeping actually same pace as Gertz. Gap still at 3 seconds between the two of them, with the two Mustangs being over a second and 2 seconds behind respectively. I think maybe in a lap or two we might see the first cars coming into the pit lane. It's actually on this lap Morrow lost half a second to Gertz. So still Gertz is putting on a lot of pressure. Wederson now as well moving back positions up to P12 now, having a net gain from the starting position, but with a 6 second gap to P11 to overcome. Black losing a little bit of ground to O'Leary ahead and falling into the grasps of the McLaren behind. Closing a lap nearly 2 seconds slower than Caraballo's. Ooh, and definitely struggling with some tie grip right now. As there's a yellow flag on the circuit, that is for Jordanov, making way for the leaders. Nicely done then. And for Black it's going from bad to worse. Now also losing positions to Druid and Warrior in the space of 3 corners. So Black now really starting to lose some tire performance. I think everyone is going through that phase right now as well. As there we see Yoranov being parked. LoJack has lost some time to the car ahead and has thus also fallen within the reach of Paris. As we have a drive-through penalty for Gonalons, I believe it is, so 198. Let's see, and indeed it is, so not really the debut that they were looking for probably. But still they press on. Currently sitting in P20. Morona definitely extending away from the two Mustangs behind. Black has re-overtaken Warrior for 25th place and is now very close to the back of Truett, as car number 99 belonging to Fitterer has now also received a drive-through penalty for track limits, and they are going to serve that immediately as well. And getting it nicely stopped on the marks into the pit lane to serve their drive-through. Actually, now that there's a little bit of no, actually, let's wait for a minute, as I think we will see some pit stops coming in very due time. As Jordanov peels it into the pit lane. Being followed by Mackie. And LoJack has also pulled off into the pit lane. So has Martinelli as well. So now it's the time where the pit stops come into action. So LoJack going for the undercut, trying to stay in the lead of, or ahead at least, of Hochhausen. Was no, not Hochhausen, I'm sorry, of Paris. So these will be very deciding laps. As when do you pull the trigger? That seemed a little bit like a shaky exit from Dundee's. Keeping it together as there has been a disqualification. We don't see that an awful lot, but Gonalons has been disqualified for not going for the drive-through that they had been handed out, and have thus been disqualified by race control. Interesting. As Turney and Dundee's still very close together. Dundee's flashing the lights now. They were past Turney in the Aston Martin, but then went in too deep. So Tony got back ahead of that Ferrari. More people into the pit lane, including Paul, Freivogel and Valcinelli, as well as Popov and Paris. And especially with Paris, I am very curious to see where they will end up compared to Logic. Driving out of the pit lane right now, as Logic coming across start finish right now. It will be very close between the two of them. And I think it will be Logic actually who will retain the lead. And by a considerable margin actually over Paris. So maybe Paris had a different strategy call, as Freivogel has got himself a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And it will be a stationary 30 seconds. The worst category of penalty, about the worst penalty the biggest penalty you can get in racing. So that's a big disappointment for them. Good still leading, but only by 1.3 seconds. Good losing some time to Morrow. Last lap was a 1:34.7, which is nowhere really like we have seen from Goods. I think the tires will start to fall away by quite a lot now. So when they go into the pit lane, will they also change tires? It takes longer. It's now the McLaren of Druid who is lapped, is ahead, and Gertz pulls the trigger, goes it into the pit lane. And that means that Morrow takes the lead. Back that they lost after the first lap. They have gotten past through it in the opening sector. I think, was it smart for Morrow to stay out? They might have lost a little bit of time due to Druid, as Popov in the background going very wide. Which you don't really want to have, losing time on the overcut lap. At least I would assume that Morrow will be peeling it into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Stop and go has been cleared by Freivogel, so they will return back to racing. So is Morrow going to peel it off into the pit lane? He should peel to the left hand side, and he does so. Morrow going into the pit lane. There's a double yellow wave in the pit lane. Not quite sure what that's for. As Weatherston is now exiting the pit lane. So one comes in, one exits out. And they will exit out in P12. So a couple of people yet to stop. A couple of people still in the pit lane. Turney, Dundies both need to make the stop still. As Warrior Taylor, Morrow and Aso Jan are all in the pit lane right now to serve their mandatory pit stop. Turney still not going into the pit lane. And I think Dundee's is peeling it off in the pit lane, and they are. So Turney now possibly the highest ranked car that is yet to stop. As Warrior gets themselves also a stop and go 30 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. For them as well. Oh, actually it's BX Royal who has inherited the lead after not yet stopping for the mandatory pit stop. And I think after that you still have Druid who still needs to stop. As Dundee's now completed their stop and exiting out of the pit lane. As two McLarens of Druid and Popov going very closely together, side by side as they head to turn number 7. Popov with the inside line and the overspeed should be a done deal for them. And they make it stick. Just barely actually. And they are up to 12th position. Druid still of course needing to make their pit stop, so wasn't really a position to fight for, so to speak. Warrior in the pit lane serving their penalty. And actually, this is the effective race leader, Moro. Moro has pulled off the overcut on Gr3 and has inherited the race lead back on, yeah, well, not count back, but after Turney and BX Royal have completed their pit stop. It should be done and dusted. Gr3 nearly running into the back of that Lamborghini, needing to take avoiding action, losing a couple of valuable tenths. But I think on this straight or bend straight, whatever, the Mustang will catch up. There's already 2 tenths gained. And through the braking, losing again 2 tenths. Then gaining, losing, gaining, losing. It's very harmonic, one could say. At least it's consistent. ASEAN still needing to make their pit stop as well. As Druid and BX Royal are both in the pit lane, that means that our race leader is currently Turney from silver class. So a silver class driver is leading the race. Who had that on their bingo card for this race? Well, not me, I will tell you that much. Who, as the Porsche and BMW are very closely together, although it's not actually for position. Taylor trying to get past the blue flagged BMW from black. He did so without too many issues, I would think. There we have our race leader Turney with 1 second of gap to Moro behind. Need to take a bit of an awkward line. And now peeling it off into the pit lane, almost like they were trying to help Gr3 there. Yes, there is a white flag shown for a possible slower car. I do not see that, and the white flag has been retracted, turning now indeed in the pit lane. And that is the last of the mandatory pit stops. Actually, it's not. Kazuyan still needs to make their pit stop. As Druid led by BX Royal. O'Leary going a little bit deep and subsequently giving way to faster car of Taylor in the number 62 Porsche. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a fight on our hands for the remaining 20 minutes. A fight for the lead of this race and thus the victory, possibly, of this race. And the gap between the two front runners is less than half a second. Looking back from the Lamborghini, going very aggressively over the inside curve of the apex, trying to get as much rotation out of the car as possible, make the run through the corner as smooth as possible. And they have the big Mustang behind, which always looks so very aggressive to see in your mirrors. On the other hand, the Lamborghini also looks fabulous. Actually, there's a new one coming next year. I'm not actually sure what's called again. It is the Temerario, or whatever you want to call it, or how do you pronounce it? It's like the upgraded spec of the current Lamborghini. Moro now creating a gap of nearly a second, so pulling away nicely through the first half of the lap. But actually getting overtaken. I was looking away for just a moment, and Gert has actually overtaken Moro. Probably one of the most important parts of the entire race, and I missed it by being a little bit distracted, which for it I'm very sorry. But after Moro went wide, getting over the curb a little bit crossed up, it was an easy move for Gert to make their move into the lead of the race, as there is a penalty as well for another car, which would be car number 8. And that car would belong to Caesar. Caesar in the McLaren 720S Evo. Getting themselves a penalty. Yeah, but back to the lead of this race. Moro now with everything to fight for, nothing to lose. P3 is a couple of seconds back, P4 is even further back, so they are able to make some riskier moves. As 57 has also got themselves a drive-through, and that would be BX Royal. getting a drive-through for track limits. And also just like that, those tiny moments, maybe Moro cut the inside apex a little bit too much, and that's again a penalty, or at least a warning. And with 4 you get a penalty, and there is a move from Moro up the inside at turn number 7. An audacious move on the brakes, not able to pull it off. Now trying to go for a switchback move, slotting in back behind Gert. And showing that they are there and they are not to be messed with. As drive-through for BX Royal has been cleared now. As it is so very close between the two cars. Lamborghini nearly pushing the Mustang around the lap. As Caesar is now completing their drive-through penalty. Two cars being separated by only a handful of car lengths. That throughout the entire lap, as Fitzpatrick is dooming up in front of them. They will need to give way in just a moment's time when they receive the blue flags. That would be right now. So Fitzpatrick yielding, not yet. But hopefully will do so in just a moment's time. And there they go, taking a wide line so that their leaders can go through. And in doing so actually brought Moro closer to the rear bumper of Gertz. One-tenth in between the two cars. Just over 13 minutes left to go. Oh, and then a bit of a mistake from Moro. Awkward line through turn 1. And then gaining all the time back. You see how close they get on the apex of turn 4. It is oh so close, as one famous commentator would say. Let's have a quick look through the field. Dundies and Fitzroy being very closely together. Although I believe that Fitzroy is currently doing some better pace than Dundies. So I don't think it will be all too long before Fitzroy tries to make a move past the Ferrari. Might already be now, you know. Ooh, and Dundee's actually trying to let Fitzroy past. And Fitzroy not expecting that, nearly running into the back of the Ferrari. Yeah, Caesar giving away to Cabras. I think apart from these two, there are not really any other battles currently going on. At least not within such a close proximity as we are seeing right now between the Lamborghini and the Mustang. And 53 kilometers an hour. Oh, yes, there is nearly a big collision between Dundee's and the leaders, and I think Morrow might even make a profit out of all this. Not quite, not able to hang it around the outside at turn 15. But that was a very, very close moment between the leaders and Dundee's. Fitter will be the next lapped car who is waiting to get lapped by the two leaders. So far so good. As they are still 2.5 seconds away. Closing in quite quickly. Black letting Falcinelli go by. As there we go, another battle on track between Turney and Freivogel. Remember, Freivogel with that penalty. A little bit lower down than they probably should be. But a big slide out of the final corner. Trying to keep the pressure on the Aston Martin ahead. BMW trying everything in their power to try and get past the Aston Martin ahead. But with only 8 minutes left to go, it will be quite close. As now they are side by side with each other. Freivogel with the inside line. And inside line is key here. Although Turney with the exceptional insight of going for the switchback move retakes P14 away from Freivogel. After Freivogel thought they had it, not quite. Good, still defending from Morrow. As we see that Jordanov there letting them by, not causing any issues. Oh, as there was a brake tap, and it was indeed the last straw for Goods, who now gets a drive-through penalty for track limits, and that is probably a done deal. They were trying so eagerly not to get a last warning, flashing the lights in frustration. And that's a big shame for Gr3, who was doing so well, keeping up so very well. And now needs to fight their way back in these last 6 minutes. And they are not actually going into the pit lane yet. I think they will try to extend it for as long as possible, trying to create a gap. I think if they went in right now, that should be enough, or should be enough. They would come out in clear air. But this is already pretty big for the championship, as currently Gr3 is leading over Logic and Weatherston, and Logic, after the drive-through has been served, will claim another P2, and I believe that would mean that they will get into the lead of both Gold Class and the overall championship. What a shame for Gr3. Driving so well, but then the last track limits, you could see it. He even braked on the exit curb, trying to negate any time gained. But the stewards were like, nah, we have none of it. Here you go, final warning for you. Which means that that is a penalty. And both Hochhausen and Gr3 starting so far up in front, as Gr3 now goes in for the drive-through. Ooh, even hitting the inside barrier almost by the looks of it. Getting it slowed down nicely. Do not want to get a stop-go 30 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. So the two Mustangs, both with a drive-through penalty, and both starting very much in the front of the grid, will both see a relatively disappointing reward for their performance. As that means that now Paris is in the podium spots with Taylor just 2 seconds behind. So Taylor might even be able to push for a podium, as car 87 has got a drive-through penalty, and that would be O'Leary. O'Leary in bronze class. Currently in P4 in bronze class, sorry. So Paul currently in the lead in silver class, ahead of Popov and Kalyan, who are all very much in the clear. Dundee's in the lead in bronze class, ahead of Fitzpatrick and Caraballo. Gr3 coming out in P6, 1 second ahead of Cabras, and only 3 seconds behind Martinelli. As Paul there going a little bit wide on the exit, getting caught up on the curb. 2 more laps remain in this race, and it was a very hectic one to say the least, as Martinelli goes into the pit lane. Did Martinelli not refuel enough? What has happened? Martinelli in the pit lane right now, and serving what I assume is a very quick stop. That seems like it's a bit longer than usual. I'm not sure what's happening there. That's another bit of drama towards the end of the race, as O'Leary now comes in for the drive-through. Martinelli powers it back out into the fast lane. I'm not sure what that was for exactly. Here Popov and BX Royal on their penultimate lap.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
And now leader on the final lap. Give it all you can, says the engineer. And they will sure as hell try to do their best. O'Leary out of the pit lane after serving that drive-through. And Popov wanting to defend his top 10 finish very hard from BX Royal. We still got another lap to go after this, so still need to be wary about track limits and all that. As the clock has hit 0, they will complete the final lap. The Ferrari is so very close to the back of that McLaren. As they are going side by side, the Ferrari trying to hang it around, but not able to do so. But we have to applaud this man. After starting from pole position, losing it, then getting it back with some strategy, then losing it again, and ultimately keeping the pressure up. And they will be rewarded with a P1 finish. Morrow wins round number 2. As Lojek will finish in P2 ahead of Paris, who will just finish ahead of Taylor in P4. Very well done. And Kurtz will get home in 5th place after having a shot at victory in the last minutes of the race. They do claim the fastest lap, so it is at least something. And I think they are very much done with this race. Cabros will finish in P6 with Paul, I believe, in P7. P8 will go... No, it's all wrong. It's the timing delta is... timing delta is all messed up. P10 will go to Popov, who will just hold off BX Royal to take a top 10 finish. Very well done. Morrow being obviously very happy with their result, celebrating with some celebratory donuts. As Warrior and Freivogel are the last ones to cross the finish. Freivogel will finish in P13. As Paris is joining the Lamborghini for some celebrations. So that is the race result then. Morrow claiming P1. Almost 10 seconds ahead of Lojek and Paris, with Taylor following close behind. That's good. Cabras pole winning in silver class with Weatherston and Valcinelli in the 8 and 9. Popov gets second place in silver class and 10th place overall. Then it is BX Royal with Kellyan finishing off the podium in silver class and finishing P12 overall. Then it's Freivogel, Martinelli, Turney, Fittre and Dundies finishing in bronze class ahead of Fitzpatrick. Then it is Caesar and Caraballo finishing off the podium in bronze class in P20 overall. Then there's Druid, Black, Warrior, O'Leary, Mackie, Jordanov, Azoyan, Hochhausen and Gonalons, who got disqualified 17 laps into the race. So let's see if we have some of the drivers who want to talk. Unfortunately, Morrow is on the Xbox, so I won't be able to contact them. Um, so let me know what you thought of the race. I mean, Celis, you have said something in a language that I do not know. That would be Italian. Alright. Well, good to know. Actually, as my... No, okay. I was thinking for a moment that my game bugged. Gonna quickly save the replay. Because that is nice to have. And now we're just waiting for maybe someone to join in for the post-race interviews. I don't think that there will be anyone. We'll just stick it out for a moment. But I think that will be it for tonight. Next week we are at the Austrian favorite, the Red
Green
Bull
light, go, go,
Ring.
go.
High speed, short laps will be great. Until next week then. And then we head on to round number 3. Until that time, have a good one. Bye bye.